Again? Are we doing this again today? I guess we are. I guess we are. After I posted my video on Rachel Nichols an hour or two ago, I started looking on the internet for my next idea. And what I usually do, I always start with my Google homepage. I check the recommended stories. As you guys know, Google will tailor the homepage to feed you stories based off of your search preferences. Mine, of course, are mostly NBA stories, NFL stories, sports in general, and woke politics. I was actually I was actually looking for an idea for tomorrow. I wasn't going to upload again today. I was about to get a shower and head out to dinner. But here we are. These damn wokers, the gift that keeps on giving. The very first story on my feed. Amin Elhassan calls out Woj for putting his foot on black careers at ESPN. In 2020, there was a race war going on in major cities throughout the country. In 2021, that race war is going on at ESPN. This is unbelievable at this point. Literally every hour, something new is being released about ESPN, and it's all negative. All negative. And it all has to do with race. Like I have said countless times this week, which is only 2 days old at this point, ESPN has brought all of this on themselves. This is what happens when you allow this type of mentality to infect your company. This mentality, this woke mentality, it is a disease. If you own a company and you suspect one of your employees is one of them, I recommend you get rid of them immediately. Otherwise, you are going to eventually find yourself dealing with the toxicity that ESPN is dealing with right now. This is opening night for the NBA Finals. We should be talking about Game 1. And all any of us are talking about is the racial drama going on at ESPN. This time, Adrian Wojnarowski is being thrown under the racist bus. By the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed this yet, but it seems if you're not a minority in this country, according to the wokers, you are automatically racist. You are inherently racist. It's in your genetic makeup. This dude, Amin Elhassan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, really don't give a damn. I had never heard of him until about an hour ago. I had to look him up to find out who the hell he was. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Apparently, he used to work at ESPN, which now it makes sense why I haven't heard of him. I don't watch ESPN unless I'm watching a game. He's on Dan Le Batard's show, which if you haven't seen his show in a while, it is a jumbled mess. I don't know if all shows are like this. I don't normally watch. But at one point, he had 8 or 9 people on the show at the same time. It was a gigantic woke orgasm. Dan Le Batard started the show by talking about Stu Gatz and his white privilege. The conversation about 30-40 minutes in turned to the current situation at ESPN. And there was a woman on there, a blonde woman, she made the remark that it's not right Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor are fighting over their spot. How come women only get one spot on these shows and men get all the other roles? Probably because the other roles go to analysts. You know, people who have actually played in the NBA, people that can tell you what goes on in the minds of players, people that can break down plays in the middle of the game, those type of people. But the biggest story coming out of this show was the remarks from Amin Elhassan. According to him, there is a power struggle going on at ESPN. I happen to agree with that. There is a power struggle. Wokers are trying to take over the network, and the executives at ESPN are allowing it to happen. Amin Elhassan goes on to basically call out Adrian Wojnarowski and call him a racist. He doesn't say that specific term, but it was insinuated. It was implied anyway. He claims that Woj has held back African Americans at ESPN because they had better sources. That was his justification for saying what he said. Here is some of what he said. Quote, "This guy is going to call someone a bad teammate? For real? For real? Do we want to talk about the black careers that he put a foot on because he was threatened by? Do we want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about the newsbreakers with an S of diverse background who have rapports with players that Adrian doesn't have, that he saw as threatening because his sources are all front office people and assistant coaches trying to move up, and maybe a video coordinator that's trying to get a better job somewhere else. But he can't talk to LeBron. He can't talk to Chris Paul or Damian Lillard or some of these other guys. He doesn't have that rapport with them. So what he does is he steps on them, end quote. Jemele Hill, she then added in her biased opinion and claimed that Rachel Nichols is the same way. The White Devils. She didn't say that part. I added it myself. Once again, this is another example of these people turning something into race that has nothing to do with race. You pick any corporate environment, any job, doesn't matter. Where is everyone trying to get? When you come out of college and you get your first job, is your goal to remain in your entry-level position? No, your goal is to move up within the company. Why? So you have a bigger profile, you make more money. Entry-level positions are expendable. If you have a more important position in the company, you have more value. It makes it harder for them to get rid of you. In order for you to move up, what has to happen? You have to replace someone. Someone has to retire, move on to another company, or you have to prove that you're more valuable than they are and replace them. It's the same thing in this situation at ESPN. Both Rachel Nichols and Woj are at the top when it comes to the NBA at ESPN. So they have a lot of people under them trying to take their spot. Of course, they are going to do whatever it takes to maintain their positions. If Amin Elhassan and Jemele Hill would have left the racial component out of this discussion, I would have actually agreed with them on some points. They made some good points. They really did. But with these people, it always has to do with race. If Rachel Nichols and Woj were burying people, I highly doubt it had anything to do with race. It had everything to do with them maintaining their position. Jemele Hill made a comment about the optics looking bad. Why? Because ESPN has created an environment that is centered on race. So the optics are always going to look bad when a white man or a white woman does something nefarious to a minority. It's always going to come back to a racial component. It's strange though. Amin Elhassan accuses Woj of basically being racist, but he leaves out an important part. When ESPN hired Woj back in 2017, guess who he replaced? Mark Stein. If Woj had anything to do with Mark Stein's ouster, I guess that means he's racist against his own people. This has become a trend now, a trend that I think we're going to see continue to happen. We are going to continue to see former ESPN employees speak out against the network. This is one of the problems when you try to appease wokers. Rachel Nichols, in that leaked audio, she made a comment about white executives at ESPN who were Trump voters. I was a bit surprised by that remark. I figured the decision makers at ESPN were all ultra wokers. If Rachel Nichols is right, that statement's true, and executives at ESPN aren't woke, they're more conservative, then this is a great example of why you don't work with and appease these type of people. It's never enough. It is never enough. ESPN tried to appease Jemele Hill. It blew up in their face. When they felt that she was taking it too far, they part ways, and she has been going after them ever since. Same with Dan Le Batard. You give people like this an inch, they take a mile. It's better not to give them anything in the first place. This mentality is toxic. I don't want to go deep into another history lesson, but everywhere this mentality has been tried before, it's failed. Call it whatever you want. Socialism, social justice, wokeism, progressivism. They always come up with a new name for it. It's always the same thing, and it's always the same result. They've created an enemy in this country. First, it was the police. Then it was white police. Now it seems like it's all white people. Rachel Nichols found out the hard way. I hope she learned her lesson. Woj, finding out the hard way. ESPN, finding out the hard way. These people are not loyal to you. They're only loyal to you if you benefit their cause. Once you're no longer beneficial to them, they turn you into the enemy. All right, time to let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts on Amin Elhassan's comments on Woj. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.